In February, a large group gathered to hear a major announcement about how domestic violence cases were now going to be handled in Spokane County.
We are unbelievably excited at the YWCA to be the new host of the new Spokane Family Justice Center. So a Family Justice Center is the co-location of a multidisciplinary team of professionals who are really working together under one roof to provide victim-centered services.
The Family Justice Center is an important step forward in the Spokane community's commitment to hold offenders accountable, protect the safety of victims, and reduce the number of domestic violence incidents in Spokane.
The Family Justice Center brings together the Spokane Police Department, the Spokane County Sheriff's Department, the Spokane County Prosecutor, the Spokane City Prosecutor, and advocates from the YWCA to collaboratively and holistically address the problem of domestic violence in our community, both on the offender side from a focused deterrence perspective and from ensuring that victims are very quickly connected to services.
To have our prosecutors, our law enforcement here side by side with the county prosecutors and law enforcement, this is a collaboration that really has come together, built on national best practice models. And so the hope and really the determination that we have is to have a safer community, and that includes dealing with those in a way, in a comforting way, in an advocacy way of those that find themselves in this unfortunate circumstance.
The Spokane Regional Domestic Violence Team is a group that's been together for about a dozen years, but what makes their move here to the Family Justice Center, which is located here at the YWCA, so important is it now not only co-locates all 5 of those partners, but it also gives victims access to the full breadth of services here in one location at the YWCA.
I am a former board member for the YWCA and have been a passionate advocate for women in this community. And so when Regina from the YW came and suggested that we look at moving our domestic violence regional team over to the YWCA in partnership with the city, it made sense. It made sense to move them so that our victims could not only receive the services through the county and the city, but also the services they need to get their lives restored.
So for me to see this day happen is very important because we finally have all the partners back together in a facility that is designed to work around and help the victim. The children of the victims are going to have a place to stay, to play as their parents are working through this process, rather than sitting in a sterile environment, and it's much more conducive to the family.
So it's just really exciting for me because so often we get into our silos in government, and here we're seeing people come together and really work together to get the best outcomes for the community. So co-location is just really important to achieve that.
The benefits the center will provide is clear to prosecutors as well as legal service advocates of the YWCA.
From my point of view, I'm a victim service agency. The importance is to get it to be victim-centered, to address the needs of that victim all in one place. We've had cases where they've had to park in one place and then walk to another, find parking again, and then be told they're in the wrong place again. And this eliminates all of that. They're in one place to have all of their needs addressed at one time.
This is a golden opportunity for us to leverage what we do well with what the Y does well to make sure that the outcome is advantageous for not only the court system, but for the public as well as the victims of all these domestic violence crimes.
Law enforcement agencies in the city and county welcome the co-location of their investigators at the center.
Better working relationship across the board with all the partners involved, city, county, prosecutors, and Y. That is what this will bring together, with the most important part being a better relationship with the victims of these crimes.
That allows them to work together, and it really doesn't matter whether they're have someone that's across jurisdictional lines, but they can work together on the cases, not only whether they're felony cases or misdemeanor cases, and then communicate that through the prosecutors and the advocates for the successful resolution for the victims.
Our department has assigned a sergeant and 6 employees to work the cases, everything from misdemeanor cases to felony assault cases, and to contact offenders, to make sure that they are abiding by the conditions of their release, to contact the victims, to assist them in the prosecution, and also to follow up interviews. So our response has become very comprehensive.
It allows the victim to come here to get the services that they need, protection orders and help from the YWCA, at the same time putting the police officers who do investigate the crimes and who do help out in a different environment to where the victim will feel, hopefully will feel a little bit more secure here, and we can get the story together so we can help them out through the criminal justice system.
Again, the focused deterrence model, the chronic offender model, is aimed at giving the assaulters, the people that drive domestic violence, an alternative. Seek help, get help, end your violent behavior, end your victimization, or face the consequences of significantly stepped up penalties for your violence, whether it's bail being held and raised at a higher level, or a more vigorous prosecution.
All of those present for the opening of the center look forward to the positive benefits it will provide towards the goals of helping victims of domestic violence while holding offenders accountable.
As a victim advocate, I have a special place in my heart for this work. I come to work every day to make a difference in someone's life, and so being able to impact them in a positive way and hearing people say, wow, that's such a great thing that you guys are doing, and it'll make things easier for us, that's what keeps me coming, and knowing that this was the right thing to do.
So if we can, by bringing this team together and providing services to these women, help to reduce those numbers so that women are not simply becoming another number or statistic in our community, we have been successful.
The other thing we think we're going to see, and I think we've already begun to see it, is greater connections of victims to services, whether, as I mentioned earlier, children at school to counseling, or victims to the advocates here at the YWCA or other community advocacy groups.
This is going to be a very strong, cohesive partnership in a location that is designed to work around the victim.
Some additional outcomes that we know to be true there are reduced domestic violence related homicides, again, increased victim safety, reduction of the fear and anxiety levels of victims and their children, and equally as important with regard to perpetrator accountability, there are fewer recantations from victims and less minimization by victims of what a critically dangerous situation they might be in.
I think we're going to see less reoccurrence of domestic violence. We're going to see people held accountable and know that they're being held accountable in the community. And hopefully we're going to see families, especially children, be safe and not have as much challenges in school because they're experiencing domestic violence in the household. So those are the things I hope to see happen.
It is the compassion of our community at the individual level and the philanthropic giving that made this possible. It is the compassion of our elected officials, the compassion of our law enforcement that came together, and they broke down those silos that often happen in the public sector, in the government sector, and said, we want a better outcome for our community. We need to come together and make this happen.